Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Michael Gambon, A Life on Stage and Screen. Michael Gambon, October 19, 1940 to September 27, 2023, was one of the most commanding and versatile actors of his generation, a performer whose presence could fill theaters, elevate films, and bring unforgettable characters to life. Over a career spanning more than 6 decades, he became known for his depth, power, and extraordinary range, transitioning seamlessly between classical theater, modern drama, film, and television. Early life and beginnings. Born in Dublin and raised in London from the age of 5, Gambon grew up with modest roots. He developed an early fascination with craftsmanship and engineering, which later influenced his methodical approach to acting, and initially trained as an apprentice toolmaker. But theater captured his imagination, and in his late teens, he began performing with amateur groups before securing a position in the National Theatre under Laurence Olivier. This opportunity marked the beginning of a distinguished artistic journey. Theatre. A titan of the stage, Gambon became one of the defining British stage actors of the 20th century. Revered for his bold interpretations and emotional precision, he excelled in classics by Shakespeare, Pinter, and Beckett as well as contemporary works. Some of his most acclaimed performances include The Life of Galileo, 1980, which showcased his command over complex intellectual roles, Betrayal, Skylight, and various Pinter plays, where his subtlety and restraint defined his mastery. King Lear, a role many critics considered one of his greatest achievements. Known for his rich, resonant voice and astonishing ability to shift between power and vulnerability, Gambon became a fixture of the West End and a beloved presence in British theatre. Film and television career. Though revered on stage, Gambon became known worldwide through film and television. Television success. His breakout TV role came with The Singing Detective, 1986, in which he portrayed a writer suffering from a debilitating skin condition and hallucinatory fantasies. The performance earned him widespread acclaim, numerous awards, and recognition as one of the finest TV portrayals in British history. Film roles. Gambon's film credits reveal an artist who embraced both blockbuster entertainment and niche drama. Among his many notable roles, Albus Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series, taking over the iconic role from Richard Harris, beginning with Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, 2004. Gambon brought a brilliant mixture of gravitas and unpredictability to the beloved character. Gosford Park, 2001, where he played the imperious Sir William McCordle. The King's Speech, 2010, portraying King George V. The Insider, 1999, appearing as a forceful CBS executive. He was equally compelling in quiet dramas and large-scale productions, always grounding his characters with emotional authenticity, acting style and personality. Despite his success, Gambon resisted the idea of celebrity. He was famously private, self-effacing, and mischievous, often poking fun at interviews and refusing to romanticize his craft. As an actor, he was known for a remarkable physical presence, commanding, expressive, and dynamic, a rich, adaptable voice, capable of thunderous authority or soft intimacy, an instinctive, intuitive acting method rather than a technical or academic approach, an incredible ability to interpret complex characters with nuance and emotional truth. Colleagues frequently described him as both intimidatingly talented and endlessly warm-hearted. Legacy. Michael Gambon's influence on acting is profound and enduring. He left behind a body of work that spans genres, eras, and artistic forms. Legendary stage performances studied by actors and critics alike. Iconic screen characters beloved by audiences worldwide. A reputation as one of the greatest actors to emerge from Britain or Ireland. His passing in 2023 marked the end of an era, but his performances, captured on stage, film, and television, continue to inspire and captivate. A master of transformation, Michael Gambon was often described as a shape-shifter, an actor who could disappear into any role with astonishing ease. Whether playing an eccentric detective, a tyrannical aristocrat, a grieving father, or a whimsical wizard, Gambon brought a sense of lived-in realism to his characters. Instinct over technique. Unlike some actors who relied on strict method approaches, Gambon was famously intuitive. He once said he didn't analyze characters deeply but instead felt his way into roles. Directors often remark that he needed very little rehearsal compared to other performers. He simply became the character once the costume was on. This instinctual approach made him unpredictable in the best possible way. Fellow actors frequently commented on his ability to change the rhythm and emotional energy of a scene with a single look or pause. The great Gambon, Gambon's mentor, Laurence Olivier, famously nicknamed him the Great Gambon, a title that stayed with him throughout his career. It was not just praise for his talent but also recognition of his boldness, magnetism, and stage command. Dominance in classical theatre. In Shakespearean roles, Gambon excelled in the psychological intensity of characters like Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, Uncle Vanya, Chekhov. His portrayals were praised for their originality. In King Lear, particularly, critics noted how he balanced vulnerability with raw fury, creating a Lear that was both terrifying and tragically human. Pinter and modern drama. Gambon also had a rare gift for Harold Pinter's atmosphere-rich, ambiguous plays. His performances in works such as The Caretaker, Old Times, and Betrayal displayed his mastery of silence, tension, and subtext, essential elements of the Pinter style. Film career. A global audience. While Gambon always said he preferred the stage, film catapulted him into international fame. Dumbledore. A defining pop culture role when he took over as Professor Albus Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series following Richard Harris' death. Gambon inherited one of the most iconic characters in modern literature. His interpretation was distinct, firmer, more energetic, and slightly mysterious. He added depth to Dumbledore's wisdom and complexity, especially in the darker later films. Despite the global fame it brought, Gambon treated the role pragmatically, famously saying he didn't read the books because he preferred to play what's on the page and in the moment. Diverse and challenging roles. Gambon's filmography reveals a fearless actor willing to tackle any genre. The Cook, The Thief, His Wife and Her Lover, 1989, a chilling performance as an abusive, grotesque gangster. Sleepy Hollow, 1999, part of Tim Burton's eerie ensemble. The Insider, 1999, a commanding portrayal in a corporate drama. Gosford Park, 2001, a key figure in Robert Altman's masterful ensemble film. Layer Cake, 2004, a memorable criminal patriarch. The King's Speech, 2010, an authoritative King George V. His ability to alternate between villains, kings, eccentrics, and warm-hearted characters demonstrated unparalleled versatility. Television. Unforgettable performances. Though acclaimed in film and theater, Gambon may have delivered some of his finest work on television. The Singing Detective, 1986, in Dennis Potter's groundbreaking drama. Gambon played Philip Marlowe, a writer suffering from severe psoriasis and intense hallucinations. The role demanded enormous emotional depth, physical vulnerability, and surreal comedic timing. It earned him a BAFTA and is still ranked among the greatest television performances ever filmed. Later television work. He continued shining in TV projects such as Maigret, playing the French detective with gentle gravitas. Wives and Daughters, 1999, a BAFTA-winning performance as a conflicted country doctor. Perfect Strangers, 2001, another critically praised role. His television work helped cement his reputation as an actor who excelled equally across all mediums. Awards and recognition over his career, Michael Gambon accumulated an extensive list of honors. Major awards: 4 BAFTA Awards, 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards, Laurence Olivier Award nominations, Irish Film and Television Academy Lifetime Achievement Award, Knighthood, 1998, for services to drama. Despite receiving a knighthood, he rarely used the title Sir, preferring informality and humor over ceremony. Personality and private life: Gambon was notoriously private. Off stage, he enjoyed woodworking and engineering, cars and motorbikes, quiet domestic life, practical jokes and playful banter. He disliked interviews and shunned Hollywood glamour. His colleagues remembered him as warm, mischievous, and deeply loyal. He remained devoted to acting until health issues related to memory forced him to retire from stage work in 2015. Yet he continued taking film and voice roles afterward, demonstrating his lifelong dedication to performance. Final years and passing: Michael Gambon passed away on September 27, 2023, at the age of 82. Tributes poured in from actors, directors, journalists, and fans around the world. Many highlighted his ability to make even the simplest lines profound and his rare capacity to dominate a scene with minimal effort. Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and other Harry Potter cast members praised his kindness and wit, while theatre critics called him one of the last great giants of the British stage. Enduring legacy: Michael Gambon's legacy rests on extraordinary versatility. From Shakespeare to fantasy blockbusters, iconic characters, especially Dumbledore and Philip Marlowe, one of the greatest stage careers in modern British history, inspiration for generations of actors, many of whom studied his technique, a body of work that remains rich, varied, and timeless. He leaves behind a towering artistic footprint, one marked by bravery, depth, humanity, and brilliance. His work continues to be studied, celebrated, and loved by audiences worldwide. Michael Gambon, a monument of modern acting, expanded early fascination with craft and creativity before stepping onto a stage. Young Michael Gambon's world revolved around precision craftsmanship. Apprenticed as a toolmaker at Vickers Armstrong, he learned metalwork, design, and complex manual skills. This early training influenced his acting in subtle ways. He approached roles like an engineer, assembling them piece by piece. He had a meticulous eye for detail, noticing how posture, costume texture, or vocal tone could alter a character. He often built and repaired items backstage, bringing tools with him on tour. This marriage of artistry and craftsmanship became a defining part of his identity. Rise in the National Theatre. Olivier's protégé Gambon's acceptance into Laurence Olivier's newly formed National Theatre in the early 1960s was transformative. Olivier recognized something rare in him: raw power, adaptability, and presence. Under Olivier's mentorship, Gambon perfected classical technique, learned to command large auditoriums, gained discipline through rigorous repertory schedules, became known for quiet intensity even in minor roles. This period laid the groundwork for one of the most important stage careers of the 20th century. A stage actor without comparison, the uniqueness of Gambon's presence. Critics often struggled to describe what made Gambon electrifying on stage. He possessed unpredictable emotional force, a magnetic stillness that could hold an audience silent, a dynamic voice capable of subtlety or booming power, a combination of danger and vulnerability rarely seen together no matter the role. Gambon made it alive, messy, human, and immediate. The Life of Galileo, 1980. Many consider this performance the defining moment when Gambon emerged not just as a great actor, but as a theatrical phenomenon. His Galileo was humorous yet tragic, intellectually sharp, morally conflicted, emotionally raw. It became one of the benchmark portrayals of Brecht's masterpiece. Other landmark stage roles: A View from the Bridge, Eddie Carbone, explosive and devastating Volpone, sly, dangerous, and darkly funny Uncle Vanya, a deeply wounded, poetic performance. No Man's Land, a masterclass in Pinter's comedy of menace. He returned to the stage repeatedly until memory issues forced him to retire from theater, a heartbreaking moment for audiences and colleagues alike. Film career: subtlety and strength on screen. Although Gambon often called himself a theater man, he developed a major film presence. Ability to dominate or disappear. His screen acting carried the same adaptability as his stage work. He could dominate a scene as a tyrant, melt into the background as a quiet elder, or shift between charm, menace, and humor within seconds. Late career flourish: his later roles were particularly celebrated. The King's Speech, dignified yet stern royal authority quartet, tender humor as a retired opera star. Paddington, 2014, a warm, grandfatherly voice role. The Casual Vacancy, 2015, a complex portrayal of a small-town figure whose sudden death triggers community upheaval. Even in small roles, he brought gravity and richness. Television, endless versatility. The Singing Detective, a masterwork of performance. Gambon's role as Philip Marlowe remains one of the greatest achievements in television acting. The characters' physical pain, psychological turmoil, shifting realities, acidic wit were delivered with absolute mastery. Many actors cite this performance as one of their inspirations. Inspector Maigret. Gambon brought gentle intelligence, melancholy, and subtle humor to his portrayal of Georges Simenon's famous detective. His Maigret was not flamboyant or showy. He was thoughtful, human, and deeply empathetic. Personality: a mix of mystery and mischief. Despite his imposing presence, Gambon was known as warm, generous, hilarious, unpretentious, fiercely private. He loved practical jokes. One famous instance involved him forging and displaying a fake letter from the Vatican praising his performance in Othello, a joke many believed for years. Dislike of celebrity: Gambon distrusted interviews and avoided discussing his process, once saying, "I don't have a technique. I just do it." He felt analysis could ruin spontaneity, which he believed was the life force of performance. Health, later life, and retirement. In the early 2010s, Gambon began experiencing issues with memory recall, a devastating challenge for a stage actor dependent on long, complex scripts. In 2015, he announced his retirement from live theater. He continued working on screen and in voice roles, where dialogue could be recorded in shorter sessions. His final years were spent quietly, surrounded by family, friends, and the crafts he loved. Passing in global tributes: Michael Gambon's death in 2023 prompted tributes from actors, directors, playwrights, film critics, fans across generations. Emma Watson recalled his kindness. Daniel Radcliffe praised his brilliance and humor, and Jude Law called him a giant in every way. Theatre critics noted that his passing marked the loss of one of the last titans of Britain's post-war acting renaissance, alongside names like Olivier, Gielgud, and Richardson. His place in acting history: Michael Gambon stands among the greatest actors of the modern era for several reasons. 1. Unmatched versatility: he excelled in tragedy, comedy, fantasy, thriller, naturalism, and surrealism. 2. Mastery across all mediums: few actors have achieved equal greatness in stage, film, television, radio, voice acting. 3. Instinctive, effortless genius: he was not an intellectual actor in the traditional
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.